All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for showing up to Foundation of Programming Day 13, 12, 13. I believe it's 13. Yesterday we were working on Space Invaders with object-oriented programming. We were able to get up to the point where we were coding the attack for a spaceship. Uh, we created a bullet class, which we then inherit from a parent class from Pygame.sprite, which we use to our advantage to uh, take one of the methods that were pre-built to assist us with tracking uh, a group of instances, right? If I recall correctly. Um, so we're gonna start today with Owen. Owen, if you don't mind, go ahead and share screen and let's look at what your code was doing. And explain to us what the problem is and what do you think the problem or solution might be.
I can you see it?
Yes.
All right, let me get this a little better looking. All right, so let me see. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to type this all out. I'm gonna show what it's doing.
Jesus. What are you,
Yeah, I
what are you
should
trying
have.
to? Okay.
And then main dot.
It
Can I
doesn't work
find
if you just put the red button. Go to your made up bar and just press the red button. It's okay.
Space Invaders is ready?
Okay, let's open it up. Let me see where it's at. I don't see it running.
I don't see it running either. It's not
That
on my
was
terminal.
that was my issue. I had to restart my computer because it wasn't popping up for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It's now letting me cancel it.
Did you was your computer running last night all night long?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was too.
Okay.
And I had to
Mine
restart
was
my computer, so just reboot it.
right. I gotta
Yeah,
go see you. But,
I'll get away.
yep.
All right. So while Owen does that, I'll share my screen. Okay. Where's my Zoom? Okay. All right, y'all. Can y'all see my VS Code? All right. So yesterday we finished off with the bullet class, right? So a quick little recap. We created a super file where we created the class bullet. We inherit from the pygame.sprite uh, parent class from Pygame that they have because they have these a method, right? This class, this pre-built class that we're inheriting from, allows us to uh, take advantage of the dot group method, right? It allows us to have access to this pygame.sprite.group, right? This right here specifically creates a dictionary essentially of instances of the same type of object, right? Uh, these instances are called sprites, right? It's a very common term amongst like the gaming community. Um, but it lets us keep track of all these instances. Um, and then once they're all placed in this group, it has some methods that are we have access to, right? These methods are methods like the dot draw function and the dot update method. Essentially, what the dot draw and dot update methods do is they go into a variable of a sprite group and it runs this method on every single item within that group. right? Or normally we would have to kind of do like a for loop, right? And then we would have to grab every single item in that dictionary or list, and then we would have to manually draw it. We don't have to do that thanks to the class that we inherited from, because Pygame has a pre-built function for that, right? So we just use the dot draw method onto all bullets, and it places them for us on our screen, right? And then the dot update method. So the dot update method um, does something very similar as well. It goes through the entire group and it checks the status of every single instance in that group. It compares its previous position to its new position, right? If it has new values or not, right? If we remove that instance or if that instance still exists, has the image changed? Is it still the same? So that dot update allows us to do that. So after it's drawn, we also have to update it, right? Um, back to back. Now, the update method can be overridden um, to provide customized code that we want for it to do. And we use the dot update method to update the position of the bullet, right? So you recall, how did we instantiate that bullet? Well, we did it with an event. We created an event type, all right? That, well, we didn't create the event type. We essentially listened for an event type, right? And that event type was the mouse button down. We were trying to track whenever we press our mouse button, that when that happens, I want to shoot, right? So we did an if statement that grabbed the event type mouse button down. And if it caught it, then I want to grab the position of my ship, right? Because when we think about a spaceship and when it's attacking, obviously, where is the bullet coming from? Where do we have to create or instantiate this class? Well, we want to have it at the barrel. So we had to grab the location of where our spaceship was because it's constantly moving, and then do some adjustments so we can fix the bullet at the tip of the spaceship, right? Notice that we are instantiating our bullet here, line 37, assign it to the bullet object variable right here, and then we add that bullet into our all bullet group. And then we're printing the bullets to see it, but we don't need to do that anymore. Uh, and we finished yesterday's class with a moving spaceship with bullets being shot out of the front. Notice how it spawns right here at the tip of the barrel. Right? Pretty cool. And we can always increase the speed too. That's a very I put 20 because I done this, right. I created this, so I kind of already experimented with it. But if it's too fast, just lower this to like 10. Um, and you can see how that affects it. All right, it moves significantly slower. Um, yeah, awesome. But I like to live life on the fast lane, so I'll just put it that way at 20. All right. So,
You got a hot mic, Owen.
oh yeah. Oh, so I mean, Owen is back. Go ahead, actually, Owen, show us your code. Were you able to run it now?
Yes. Let me share
Okay.
screen already.
Oh, my bad. Let me stop sharing too.
Here, let me go.
So, what does it look like when you run your main.py?
So it can move around just fine. Let me click on it. But as soon as I click, it's just leaving all my bullets in the same spot.
Yep. So it's not updating, right? Let's go look at your main.py. Let me see where you drew your bullet.
Um, right here.
Okay, so you drew it and you did do dot update. So let's
Excuse me.
see.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if you can tell on the share screen on the bullet.py that update isn't recognizing it, even though I have both of those imported with each other. So like that game imported, like as you can see, but like for some reason my function isn't recognizing update.
Okay, I think it has to be probably something with the with Sprite class. Um, let's look at bullet. Let's see. Plugin dot sprite dot sprite.
I think on line 10, the indent's off.
On my line 10,
Oh, it
Yeah.
is. It is, dude. No, move it back. Owen.
there we go.
Yo, good catch, dude. Good
Yeah,
catch.
well, let me try that.
Yeah, it's not like
That's
JavaScript, guys. JavaScript, we have curly brackets to kind of tell us where things start and end. Here, it's all about the indentation, right? So if you indent it,
there we
it's
go.
not gonna recognize it. There you go. Simple, simple mistake.
Yep, I figured it's something simple, so I wasn't too bothered with it last night. Call me lazy if you want to.
It's okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Also, good stuff. Danielle, I know you had messaged me. You were showing me your progress. Were you able to get the bullet moving? You are muted. Just a heads up.
Yeah, I got it moving. Then I restarted my computer, and now
Okay.
I'm having issues
Okay.
about something else.
Let's see it. Let's see it. What do you think the
Okay.
issue is? So, guys, I encourage you guys. If you guys are having issues with the program, like I can't solve this issue, bring it up, right? Because I promise you, everybody else in this call has probably ran into a similar issue prior to this, and it's always a good learning experience, right? To just kind of see and try to debug together. Debugging, especially, it's gonna be a very common thing that you guys be doing, especially when you get up in higher positions, you're doing code reviews. You guys have to review each other's code in the immersive program, right? You will do group projects, um, and that's gonna be very important. All right, so let's see. So what exactly is the issue?
It's just an issue with the image.
Okay, so it says
So yeah,
self dot underscore spaceship dot game position. Game object has no attribute spaceship. Okay, let's look at the game. Um, so there is no attribute spaceship. Where did you declare the spaceship? Within your the game file, yeah. Uh, so that is the class, but where within the notice it says the game object, right? So the overall game in your main.py, where we are creating all these other objects, it's saying somewhere in there it does not have an attribute spaceship. So wherever you declare this spaceship at, to instantiate it, it says that not exist, right? So it says on line 36, essentially, right? You are calling this method right here, right? And
hmm
it says that it does not have this spaceship. So obviously you can't use the get position because it doesn't recognize what self dot underscore spaceship is. So where did you declare this self dot underscore spaceship? It should be somewhere in this code, but it's probably gonna be above. Where'd you create the spaceship? Right, so right here, you have it commented out.
Oh,
You
that's
see that?
crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, you never instantiated, right? So like, I don't know what the heck this object is. I don't have a spaceship, which is assigned to the self dot underscore spaceship data member. Okay, now let's look at this next error that we're getting here. So it says that somewhere along here, all right, it's an issue. It's obviously something with the image, all right? So we tried to
Mhm.
instantiate this spaceship, but it wasn't working. Um, and then it told us why. well, somewhere within the class itself, we are trying to do this right here. And it says no file, Space Invaders, asset spaceship dot png. So in your spaceship.py file, where we create the class for spaceship, we are passing in this image right here. And it does not recognize the location. It says that no file exists there. You see that here in your terminal? It says file not
Mhm.
found error. No file, yada yada. So we need to essentially fix what your path is whenever you're declaring the space emitter. So go back to your main.py. Wherever you're declaring this spaceship right here,
Mhm.
it doesn't recognize that file path. It does not find the spaceship. So either the file path is wrong, or you don't have the image or something like that. So you're probably gonna have to go, where's the image RAM? Okay. Uh yeah. Uh it is in there. Did you like right click and do like copy file path? Is that what you did?
No, I didn't know I could do that.
Uh yeah. I don't know if you can do it here. Copy path. There you go. Try that.
Just put it between the parentheses. I mean
Yeah.
the quotations.
Run that. It's still giving you issues. It says
Mhm.
no such file. Oh, save your file and then run it again because notice that the URL is still the old URL, but we updated it. Run the main.py one. Are you saving the file?
Yeah, she still didn't say it.
Yeah, you didn't save it because it still shows the old code you had there.
So what am I supposed to do?
So save your file. Like
Mhm.
it should be like Command S, I believe is for you guys. Is that
Okay.
am I correct? Command S? Just pretty much save the changes. Because if you look at your terminal, when we ran it again, it gave us this on the very bottom. Can you see the edits I'm doing on your screen? You see
Yeah.
the file
So right here
path.
it's the same.
Yeah, it's still the old one, but obviously we updated it. You added something different.
Mhm.
So that means it hasn't been saved or it's not registering the changes. So we just have to like resave it. Um, so hopefully it should work now. Why is this not working? Line 50 in your main.py.
You
Oh,
might
go
need to
down to
say spaceship.png too. Look like you got another file up there that hasn't been saved. I don't know if that might be an issue, like right next to main.py.
hold on. Go down to line 50, Daniel, in your main.py.
50.
Yeah, you're doing something here differently. Okay, there we go. You are trying to. It doesn't recognize the outer space.png either. That's weird. Why is it being like this? Uh, yeah, it doesn't recognize the outer space one. So get the path for it.
Okay.
There we go. That's so weird. Is it working now? Shoot, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just being
Hell yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, and it's all kinds of reading what the terminal's telling you. Uh, just saying like no file exists. Obviously, you know it exists, so it probably just can't find it.
Mhm.
It doesn't know how to get there, right?
Okay.
All right, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Anyone else have any problems that they want to kind of present to us? All right. We're gonna go ahead and move forward. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Actually, let me open up. Uh, I'm slowly getting better. Slowly. but I'm still super sick. All right. Share. All right, guys. So yesterday we finished making the mouse button to shoot, right? We did an event type. We got the event type for mouse click. We got the location of the ship. Used that to instantiate a bullet object. Um, then we tweaked it a little bit to make it and line up the barrel, and then we added to our sprite group. Afterwards, it was split onto the screen, and then we added it. Then we defined the update method and we overrided it by adding the self.rect.y, and then we subtracted 5, 5 to its y coordinate so we can kind of make it move. Now, within our game loop in our main.py, every time it runs our loop, I want to call the update method. We call the update method and then we draw it. Did I put that backwards? Uh-oh. Maybe I put it backwards. Let's move it. No, it doesn't make sense. It has to be drawn first, right? Nah, we can just update it. Whatever. Whatever. No matter. I'll put it back. I'm so indecisive, dude. My wife's rubbing off on me. All right. So we have, but what happens to the bullet after the screen? All right. So we see the bullets run off and they're just disappeared. Well, let's do something here. I want to print out what self.all bullet is, right? And we already know what it is, right? We know it is a dictionary of bullet objects or sprites, right? What the heck? I said print. Oh, I'm dumb. Let's run again. We see it, right? We're shooting our bullets in my console. You guys can see it, right? It's saying that I have group, and then in that group, how many sprites there is. It's just making more and more and more. But where's my bullets at? They're going past my window, and I see that my group is still increasing. Where are these bullets at? Technically, they still exist, right? They still exist. I just can't see it, right? I can't see it. It's outside of my border, but as you can see, it still registered these sprites. It is still variables. It is still data. It is still tracking these, right? It is consuming storage space. These are not disappearing after they leave the window, and that's an issue, right? That's an issue for performance, especially in gaming. If we play it long enough, eventually, depending, I mean, it would take a while, but eventually it would slow down a little bit, right? But uh, so let's go ahead and fix the functionality for that bullet. We're gonna go back to our bullet.py, and then within the update method, I want to say, I want to remove this sprite. Well, how do we remove a sprite? Pygame has this cool method called .kill that it literally kills your sprite. So we're gonna say if self.rect.y, right? We're gonna check the y-axis of the sprite. If it is -50, that means it's gone about -50 pixels past our top border. Then I'm gonna do self.kill, right? If the y-axis of this bullet reaches -50, I'm gonna run self.kill. This is a method that comes with sprites, right? That you can call the .kill method and it will stop an instance and just delete it essentially, right? So self.kill will remove the entire instance of this bullet, of whatever that bullet is, just the instance, right? Not the other instances that exist, right? Only this specific instance that calls it, right? Because remember, we are spawning bullets at different times. So the moment we spawn the bullet, it's being updated and changing the y-axis. So by the time I get to like my 10th bullet, they're in 2 different places, right? So we needed a method that we can update and check where the status of all these bullets are at without them affecting each other. That parent class, pygame.sprite.sprite, allowed us to do that with the sprite group that we have. It ran that method of, on everything within the group, and that's what updates let us to do. It's checking, hey, is sprite number 347, is it outside of the Y radius? Oh, you are, or you're done. You're done. Right, and it kills it. Right. And then it's able to check everybody else. It's like, oh, they're still good, they're still good, they're still good until they reach y-axis -50. Right. It can check everything within that sprite group because it every single instance has these init methods. Granted, their data members might be slightly different because they're at different positions, but they all have the same method dot update, which is pretty cool. Right. The power of objects, the power of inheritance, and the power of Pygame. All right, guys. So after we create our bullet and add it to our group, we finally want to draw on our screen. Yep, we did all that. You're all right. We can now see our bullet. Yeah. Did I already do this? Okay, here we go. All right, up to this point in our code, we have a working spaceship with the ability to defend itself if needed, but no hero story is ever complete without having an arch nemesis or an enemy to core with. So next we are going to work on our enemy.py, right? You can call it enemy, you can call it alien, I do not care, right? So you are going to create a separate file. I'm gonna call my file alien.py. Now, like everything else, we have to import pygame. And then we're gonna do class alien. Aliens are going to inherit from the pygame.sprite.sprite group, right? Because very similar to a bullet class where every single bullet was going to be some form of instance, they had to have their individuality where they can like move independently, they can have different data members, and we need to be able to update them accordingly every single time our loop runs. We need to do that with our aliens. We didn't need to do that with our spaceship because it was just going to be one the entire time, right? But aliens, we need to have a large group of them, and every single one of them is going to have different positions. Every single one should be doing something at different times. So once again, we're going to leverage the methods that come with pygame.sprite.sprite. So within our the name of alien, open close parentheses, and then inherit from the sprite class. Next, we're going to come down here and we're going to define our init method. And as you guys recall from yesterday's conversation, right, we as superheroes, we're not just born with our superpowers, but eventually we end up awakening them, right? If you guys have seen Invincible, if you've seen The Boys, right? These people don't just get born with their powers, eventually they awaken them, some later than others, right? Although we are inheriting from our pygame.sprite.sprite class, we can't just not activate the methods and functions that come with it. We have to initialize them, right? We're going to awaken their powers, their methods. So we're going to do pygame.sprite.sprite dot init, and then open close parentheses and self, right? So although we are inheriting from our parent, we still need to initialize that class within us, right? So we can have access to their attributes. Cool. Does everyone understand the name method for that? I hope I feel like I was beating a dead horse. I know I explained it multiple times, but everyone understands that. I asked because I got very confused when I first started learning class knowledge. I was like, I don't understand what the name method is doing, what itself. So just want to make sure everyone is still on the same page. All right. So we initialize our class. Now, the next part is to load up our images, right? So we need to load our images for our 3 individual aliens and assign them to a data member. So the first couple of data members we are going to take, and it doesn't need to take it in as an argument, right? And you will understand why in a little bit. So I want you to create 3 different data members. One's gonna be green alien. I'll put pass for now. The second one is gonna be red alien. Don't even worry about making them private. It's just for learning purposes, guys. We're just trying to get through this. All right, yellow alien. So, as a matter of fact, I'll make them private. I don't want to be a bad teacher. We'll make these private self dot underscore green alien, self dot underscore red alien, and then self dot underscore yellow alien. I put password now. It's still giving me an issue. Whatever. But what we are going to do in all three of these data members is going to load an image. And as you guys already remember from yesterday, to load an image, we use pygame.image.load, right? It's gonna be found in your README in part of your cheat sheet, and it's gonna load an image, right? I want you guys to add the file path to your image here. For me, and if yours works like mine, it should just be assets forward slash and then the name of the alien file. So this will be green alien.png. Same thing with this one, but this will be called red alien. And if for some reason your file path is a little weird, you can do it like Danielle did. You just right click your image and then get the file path and kind of just copy and paste it in there. Sometimes it'd be like that. All right. So we have our alien, right? We have our green alien, our red alien, and our yellow alien. So after creating our three aliens, we will add them to a list that we were able to search through by index randomly. How lame is it to just get the same freaking alien that's just the same color? That's pretty lame, right? So let's add some kind of some pizzazz, right? We're going to make this bad boy random, right? We don't just want to get a bunch of red aliens. We want some diversity in this bad boy. So I want you guys to create a list, and it's gonna be called self dot underscore spawnable aliens, right? Spawning, spawnable, it just means what the aliens that we are able to create, right? This is gonna be a list, and within this list, I want you to add the three data members that we have above. Self dot underscore green alien, self dot underscore red alien, and self dot underscore yellow alien, right? So we created the data members, the image is loaded, then we create a list. We put all three of those data members in here. And then we are going to use the list to kind of just get random one that we want, right? Now, how do we use random in Pygame? Or I'm sorry, in Python, you import our module, which is random. I'm gonna do import random as R. That way I don't type in random. And then using the random module, we will use a random number with the dot R random method to grab a number from 0 to 2, therefore randomizing which type of alien we will spawn after every instance creation. Right? So after the spawnable aliens list, you're going to type in self.image. Do not make this one private. This one you will stay just like this. Pygame is very picky. So self.image is equal to self.spawnable aliens. Right? We have to call the list that we created above. And then we are going to open and close brackets because it's a list. But for the index, we are going to type in the random method, right? So random.randint 02. So when this alien class gets instantiated, right? it's going to load up all three images, but it's only going to use one every single time it creates an object, right? Which one it creates will depend on whatever random gives back at line 12, right? It's going to run this. It's going to say, okay, I'm creating an image, and the image is coming from this list at index, and it's going to be something random, whether it's red, green, or yellow, right? Does this make sense so far, guys? Of why we're doing this way? Awesome. All right. So, and this runs every time that we instantiate an object for alien. Every single time it does this, not each one will be the same, right? They're all gonna be somewhat different. Bunch of reds, bunch of yellows, bunch of greens. So once we have that, we can finally assign a rectangle. Just like everything else, our bullet had a rectangle, our spaceship had a rectangle. We use that to place them, but it's gonna come in handy later when we use them to also collide. But the rectangle is also what we use to kind of, whether we want to place them mid, bottom, top, left, right, fix the coordinates. So our aliens need rectangles too. So we're gonna do self.rect is equal to, do not make this one private either, guys. Like I said, Pygame doesn't like that. And then you're gonna do self.image.get rect. And now our alien, we are going to manipulate the rectangle using its center. So I want you guys to type in center equal, and then do 2020. 20 for the X, and 20 for the Y. I've already done the messing around with it. This is the best, the best for it. I'm sorry, I'm burping a lot. I'm drinking an extra drink. All right. With the alien class created, we want to create a new sprite group, guys. Right. So this concludes for now our alien class. Now, just like the bullet class, we also need a sprite group. Right. So we're gonna go back to our main.py. Now that our alien class is created, we are going to come up here and I'm going to say from alien import alien, right? So we can have access to our class within our main.py. And at the very top where we create a spaceship, let's go ahead, come down to where we create the all bullet group. Let's add some notes here. Create sprite groups, right? So I just know where everything's at. It's easier to kind of just navigate and read through my code. This sprite group is going to be all aliens. So self._ all aliens. And just like the one before, to create a sprite group, we need pygame.sprite.group. Right, we're going to create a sprite group. It creates an empty dictionary that's supposed to hold some type of group of instances, right? But there's nothing here yet. Now, here's something a little bit different that we have yet to see. We want to spawn these aliens, but when should they spawn? When should they spawn? Who can think of a way how we can do this? Not in code, but what's the logic? How should it work? How will we want this to work?
Start with just a couple and then progressively get more and more.
Okay, yeah, progressively get more. Start with just a couple. You should probably start at the moment we run our game, right? Probably they should probably be within intervals. It shouldn't just be like randomly just spawning everywhere randomly. So it should probably start with like maybe once every second, one spawning like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so on and so forth. Then it can increase 1, 2, 3, 4, and it gets faster, right? But within some kind of interval. Well, we need a way to track that, and with Pygame we have that. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna create an event. So we've already found, or we've already worked with getting events that are natural to Pygame that happen on their own. But us as developers, we can create our own events. Oh, it's almost like how like code has functions that it already comes with, but we can create our own functions, right? To kind of do what we need to do that are customized. So we're gonna do that for this as well, right? So How do we trigger the enemy spawning? Well, Pygame provides us with the ability to create certain events using the pygame.user event method, right? So within our game class, in our init method, we want to create a timer. So just go to below these front groups, do the hashtag. We're gonna add some notes here. Create timer for user events, right? Now, what we are going to do is we are going to call it self dot I'm typing self dot underscore enemy spawn, or we can say alien spawn timer. Alien spawn timer. All right. So we're gonna create a new data member, and it's gonna be the spawn timer. And we are going to use pygame dot, and then in all uppercase, I want you to type in user event. Right. This is gonna create an event. Essentially, it's almost like, if you guys recall, how did we grab the event for pygame.quit, pygame.mouse button? We printed out pygame.event.get. Do you guys remember that? And it returned to us kind of like a dictionary of a bunch of false. Some were true, some were false. We're essentially creating an additional event, right, and adding it to that dictionary, right? And this is what this method does. It creates an extra one. But for this to work, right, you have to do +1. Right, so it's gonna say pygame.user event +1. We are essentially creating an additional event, and this will add it to that dictionary, right? Just know that it adds it to that dictionary. So this creates that event for us. Next, we want to create our actual timer, right? We have to make the game start a timer internally for us. So we're gonna do pygame dot time dot set timer. All right. You won't visually see this timer. Just know that the computer is running this timer internally, and that's what we're just doing. We're just setting the timer. And then within this timer, we're gonna set a timer. We have to pass it. Notice here, the parameters is asking for an event, and then you give it the time in milliseconds. So what event do you want to trigger in this timer? And then how many times? Okay. So it's gonna be self.alien spawn timer, right? That's the event I created. And then every 1000 milliseconds, it should run. Does this logic make sense so far? I know you guys don't recognize the methods, but do you understand what these methods are doing for us? Why I'm using these methods? Right. This creates an event that we can track. And then we are starting an internal timer that is pre-built into Pygame. We're just using that function to our advantage. So now we have that timer. Now we have that user event. The next thing is to actually check when this is happening, right? So coming back down here, we already mentioned how we are able to grab the pygame.quit event. We're able to grab the pygame.mouse button down event. The next one we want to do is check the spawn timer, right? So you can do it either before this or after. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and just do it afterwards. Just kind of keeping chronological order how we've been doing it. And we're going to say if event dot type is equal to ourselves dot alien spawn timer, right? We created that event right here. Actually, let's change this. I know I call this alien spawn timer. Let's call it event, because honestly, that's closer to what the name is representing. It's essentially an event, right? When the timer itself is actually line 30, right? And line 30, as we mentioned before, it takes in an event, and then how often do you want to trigger that event? So we'll change line 29 to alien spawn event. That way you guys don't get confused, because technically the timer is line 30. So alien spawn event. So now we coming back down to our while loop. Every time that we run this loop, we're trying to check events. We're checking whether we've quit. We're checking whether we have attacked. Now we are going to check whether 1,000 milliseconds has passed and it's time to spawn an alien. Right? So hey, did you trigger this? If so, I want to do what the following within this code. Right? What's going to happen here, if this event has been triggered, which it will every 1,000 milliseconds, then I need to create a new alien object. So I'm gonna call this alien object is equal to, now we're gonna use our class, which takes an alien. Does alien take any parameters? Let's look at our alien class. No, it does not. Everything was preloaded, right? We preloaded the image already, right? And then it's randomly selected into the image data member by using the random int method. All right, so we create that alien object. And then after we create that alien object, if you recall from the bullet class, we have to add it to our sprite group, right? So we are going to call self.allAliens. That's the sprite group I created up here, right? On line 26 under my sprite groups, right? I need to add it into that. I'm gonna do self.allAliens.add. Where's this method coming from again? This is a method that comes from the pygame.sprite.sprite parent class that we inherited from, right? So dot add, and then we are going to add our alien object in there. All right, cool. Let's see how this is working. I'm going to print out that sprite group. Just like we printed out our bullets every time we pressed it, I just want to print out this sprite group of all aliens. I'm going to get rid of line 46, which is printing out my all bullets sprite group because I don't need that anymore. But let's check the alien one. So I'm running my game. Notice at the very bottom in my terminal, I'm printing out the alien sprite group, and notice there it says 3 sprites, 4 sprites, 5 sprites, 6 sprites, so on and so forth. And it's just constantly just printing out every second that goes by. Right? That means that my event timer is working. After the event runs, it is making an alien class or an alien object, adding it to my group, and then I'm printing out my group, right? So the object is being made successful. My event works, my timer works, my alien works. The only thing that we do not have right now, we don't have it on our display yet. You okay, James? I see you wiping your face a lot. Not stressed? You good?
No, I'm just tired.
Okay. All right. Get an energy drink. All right, brother. So it keeps going on, right? 65, 66, 67, so on and so forth. All right, cool. So we create the user event, right? We create a timer. We added the alien after creating the object. We added it into our all aliens group. All right, the next step is actually drawing it to our screen. So just like we did with the bullets down here, we did dot draw, dot update on the sprite group. We're gonna do the same thing, right? Surprise, same thing for the all aliens one. So we're gonna do draw, and then we're gonna draw it on what surface? The space surface. Right, and then we're gonna call the self dot aliens dot update method. This update method, it comes with the sprite group, right? It's just pretty much blank. It won't really update anything. We had to override it in ours, in our bullet class. So it won't really update anything. Our aliens should not be moving, but they will be printed on our screen. So after doing the dot draw method with the surface you want to draw it on, and the dot update method, we can go ahead and press run. And notice at the very top left of my window, we see our aliens spawning. They are overlapping each other though, because we have not added any functionality to them, but it is creating the instances of these objects. Notice that it's random colors. At the bottom left, you still see on my console, my sprite group is being printed out. So it matches as one's being shown on my screen is being printed out on my console. James, I see you smiling. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, all of mine were green for a while because it was random and I thought something was wrong, but then it
Okay.
finally switched.
Yeah, this is awesome. We are visually seeing the representation of our code, guys, right? The class and actually instantiating these objects. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Um, this is my favorite part from this program is being able to see and show you guys what your code looks like, right? That it's not just a bunch of text and random words. It's actually like things. So you are creating objects. This is your object, right? This is an instance of that class, your object. All right. So cool. That's awesome, guys. We have our first couple aliens in here, right? Let's go back to our code. So we drew the all aliens, right? We updated them. So this is cool and all, but no one likes a stationary target, right? We enjoy the thrill of the hunt. So let's give these bad boys some movement. Essentially, we want to instantiate our alien objects at the top left of our screen and go from left to the right, and then from top to bottom, just like the Space Invaders that everyone grew up with, right? If you guys recall, what was our aliens doing? What they should be doing, right, is go from here, the top left, and they're gonna move all the way to the right. And once they reach this right corner, they need to be able to drop slightly and then move left, right? If that kind of represents a little bit of how Space Invaders worked when we were younger, they kind of move from left to right and then right to left, top to bottom until they reach the our hero. So we need to replicate that movement. Now, first, let's go ahead and work on our alien class. So I want you guys to go to alien.py. How are we gonna move this alien? What do we need to do, guys? This is very similar to our bullet class. What do we need to do?
Do we need an update method?
We have the update method, but we haven't overrated. So yes, you're correct. So we need to do define update. Now, this is your first assignment for today. I want you guys to create the movement for this alien. The only functionality that needs to be done is here within the alien class. Do you guys understand that? There should be nothing that has to be done within your main.py or your spaceship. The movement of the alien, pretty much all has to be within your alien class. Notice I say class, not just method, class. So you can work whether in the update method or in the init method. If you want to create an additional method, I do not care. Make this move from left to right, right to left, top to bottom. Cool? Time is 6:29. If you guys want to take a 10-minute break, use the restroom, complain about life, go ahead. Come back at 6:40, and then I'm gonna give you guys 20 minutes to try it out. We will continue this at 7 p.m.
Can you share screen again, Roger, for a second? Because I'm trying to troubleshoot some of my code.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure I fat thumbed something on my alien.py, but I can't figure out what I did. On my spawnable aliens, that line number 11 for you. Yes. For some reason, it's not recognizing my self dot green, self dot red, self dot yellow.
Share your
So,
screen. Let me see. Yes, okay. Because look at how you declared your aliens and then look at how you're calling them in line 12. Look at line 8, 9, and 10, and then look at line 12.
Okay. So, 8. Oh, I see. Silly me.
Yeah. All good, brother. It happens to us all.
Yep. Cool. Now, yep. And then
Just
this
put
death
just put
updates the
pass
deaths.
for now, so you don't get an error.
Okay.
Yeah, the update method, it's usually empty, but we want to like essentially make functionality onto it.
Yeah.
Run your main.py. Let's see if it works.
There we go. There's the aliens.
Yep.
Sick. All right. I am going to take my break. Thank you.
No problem. I'll be back. make sure you guys are back and working on the assignment. And I am here for any questions you guys might have. Hope you guys didn't look at that. Read me, you cheaters. Is everyone done here? By any chance? Are you guys doing good?
I'm not done. I got it scrolling, but I can't get it to bounce back after it goes down one line.
Okay. Anyone else get it complete? How you doing now? Okay.
I've tried a couple things and I can't even get it to move.
Okay. I'll give you guys another 5 minutes. How you doing, James?
I have it like tracing the border, but not going back the other way once I do that one.
Okay, we're making progress here. Gary?
Still trying to get it to move.
Really? What's the issue with for you guys who can't get it to move?
Well, I got a little ambitious and started putting a bunch of while statements and like doing going back and so it would go back and forth, and then I realized it's not working with like the self dot rectangle dot x and y axes and doing like plus equals and minus equals, but I'm
Yeah,
having
this is a fairly simple assignment, uh, which is why I like giving it to you guys because it makes you start thinking like, okay, if I want to build something, how would I go about building it? Like, should I use a while loop? Should I use if else statements? Should I use like booleans? What should I be doing? How do I keep track of this state while getting this? Uh, so it's so simple, but at the same time, it like gets you thinking, which is pretty cool. Uh, but a quick hint is, you know, keep have some kind of state, right? When I say it's like a state is like, am I going right? Yes, that means I'm not going left. Am I going left now? Then yes, that means I'm not going right. So I should be doing this. Okay, how do I know whether I'm going left or right? Maybe creating a boolean, right? Going right or going left, right? And it could be true or false. Uh, recall the calculator that we are creating, right? Am I multiplying? So if I am, then multiply should be true and everything else should be false. And so on and so forth, right? So like, keeping track of stuff like that in that manner. And then depending on which one is true or which one is false, you should do one or the other, right? Uh, you might have to do two different ones. Like, am I going right? Yes. Have I reached this limit? No. So what does that mean? Like, am I still going right? Yeah, I am still going right. Have I reached the limit of 800 on my x coordinate? Yes, that means I should be going down, right? So then I should, if my x is greater or equal to 800 pixels, that means I should increase my y coordinate by maybe 25 or 30. Therefore, it moves down. And then once it moves down, I should be like going left is equal to true, going right is equal to false, or something like that, right? And if one if going left is equal to true, that means that your x coordinate should be decreasing. Does that make sense? Like, kind of break it off into pieces like that. All right, I'll give you guys another 5 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and continue from where we left off. So the last time we talked, we were talking about uh adding the functionality to our alien, right? So making our alien move from left to right and from top to bottom. So what we want to do is essentially be able to track what our alien is doing, whether he's moving right, whether he's moving left, uh, and we can do that by creating a data member, right, within the init method. So we're gonna do self dot underscore going right is equal to true. So we're gonna start it with true, um, because they're gonna spawn at the top left and should move right immediately. Right, they'll go from left to right, bottom to top to bottom, and then to the left. Right, and then just repeat that pattern over and over again until they reach the hero. So where we left off, our alien wasn't really doing anything, right? The update doesn't have any. So let's go ahead and give it some movement. So we can at least kind of get it moving from left to right. And what we're going to do is say if self dot underscore going right is equal to true, then I want to increase my x-axis. So self, James, you're laughing. We're like, oh, that's so simple. No? Okay, good. All right. So self dot underscore going right is equal to true. Then I want to do self dot rect dot x plus equals, and then let's increase it by 5. Right, that's gonna be the first thing they're gonna do. Just gonna move right. Let's run our main.py. And oh my god, it's moving super fast. All right, so it's moving from left to right, going to the right side of our screen, and it's not stopping, right? It's not doing exactly what we want to do. I feel like 5 is a little too fast. So let's go ahead and lower that a bit. Let's go with move 2. Does that look smooth? Yeah, there we go, baby. Now we're talking. So we'll do 2. All right. So if going right is equal to true, that means our x-axis needs to increase to moving from left to right. Right. And notice that they're moving out of my screen, and that is an issue, right? So I only want to increase my x-axis as long as they do not reach the edge, right? Once they reach that edge, I need to stop moving them to the right. So I'm going to say if self dot rect dot x is less than or equal to, let's say, 790, then I want to move it right. Correct? And it should look something like this, where it moves from left to right. And it should stop somewhere around here. And we see they kind of get stuck there. So 790 is maybe a little too far to the right. So let's put this to like 760. So 760. We can run it again. And let's see if it hits that wall that we want. Perfect. Perfect, guys. Perfect. Right at the edge. Now, once it reaches that edge, I need to go downwards. Right? So how do I handle that? So if self dot going right is equal to true, I want to go to the right, but not past self 60. Well, what do we do that once it reaches self 60, it goes down, right? So we can go ahead and move this up here, where if it's equal to true, I want to move to right, right? But if I reach 760, right? If our rect is greater or equal to 760, I want to actually, it should be fine if I do equal because it's a increment of 2, so it's divisible. So if it's equal to 760, then I want to change going right to false, right? self.rect dot no self dot underscore going right is equal to false. Now, what happens once it reaches that edge? It needs to move down. So besides going right is equal to false, I need to shift this downwards. So I'm going to say self.rect.y plus equals, let's say 50. So it should be if self.rect.x equals 760. If I reach that far right limit, I need to move downwards and I need to change my going right to false. So this if statement is no longer valid, right? So it no longer comes in here because it's no longer true. So main.py, they move from left to right. They're gonna reach my edge and then they're gonna move downwards. And notice that it stopped here because I have yet to add the functionality for what happens if going right is equal to false. Right? Next, if it's equal to false, I want to do something else. So we added the functionality for going right. Else, if it's false, then self.rect.x needs to lower its x-axis by 2 so it can move left. We're taking it one step at a time here, guys, just so we can understand what we are doing here. Right? It's all just if-else statements, guys. Right? We move right, it reaches the edge, so it needs to go downwards and it needs to go left now. Pretty cool, right? But we still haven't made it go back to the right once it reaches the left. So at some point, every single alien is going to reach the 760 mark. They're going to increase their y-axis by 50, therefore shifting down, and their data member going right will equal to false, and they'll start moving left. Well, same thing like we did on the right. If self.rect.x is equal to, let's say 50, that means they've reached the left side of the wall. I think it should be 40 because we lower the increment for the edge by 40 here. So let's do 40 here. So self.rect.x is equal to 40. Then I need to shift downwards again, just like we did on the going right one above us. Increase the y-axis by 50. And then once again, change what going right is back to true. Go back to our main.py. We run it. And we can see our aliens going from left to right. It reaches the far left wall. It shifts down, moves left. It's going to get to our far left wall. And the shift downwards. It's shifting a little bit too early. So let's go ahead and lower that the x-axis a little bit more so it can get closer to the edge of the wall. Right. So let's say alien. Let's get this to 20. Kind of get it right on that edge, guys. Right on that edge. So they move to the right, they reach the edge, move downwards. Still so far so good, guys. They reach the left edge. 20 is a little too much still. We'll get it to 10, but notice the functionality is there, guys. It is going from top to bottom, left to right, right to left, right? Very similar to the original Space Invader games that we all grew up with. Pretty cool. Look at that. Look at that. This armada of aliens, guys. Freaking awesome. So I'm just go ahead and move my alien to 10 here on the X so it doesn't give us right before the wall. I want to put it right on the edge. Let me charge my headphones because they're about to run out of battery. All right, so the movement is complete. Awesome. That is perfect, guys. So going right, I have the code here for you guys. Thank you guys for not cheating and checking it out. Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself to some knowledge. Good job. So a movable spaceship with fire capabilities and dangerous foes. It feels like we are almost at the end, but the key core concept isn't there. Our object exists, but they can't interact with each other. So let's fix that. I'm gonna put a pause here. I want to add something to the game to make it feel alive. It's pretty plain right now. There's no sound, right? No one likes to be playing in a quiet place. We want to actually kind of have some music in here. So what we are going to do is we're going to add music to our game real quick to kind of bring it to life a little bit. So within our main.py, we're going to go to the very top where we added everything like our display, our clock, display caption, and we're going to add something new to this, right? Underneath the display caption, I want you guys to add a new data member, actually above display caption. So all the self dot underscore data members together. We're going to say self dot channels is going to equal to something. We're going to create channels for our music. And the reason why we're creating channels is because Pygame is a little funky. It can only play one sound at a time unless you have multiple channels, very similar to radio stations, right? Every radio station is only playing one thing at a time, correct? So if we do not add channels, there'll only be one overall channel, which is like your main channel, and only one song can be playing. But what happens is when we try to add other sound effects like shooting, it'll override and stop the main song. So we have to add channels to our game. So we're gonna create a variable called self._channels. And to create a channel, we're gonna use a Pygame method called pygame.mixer.set_num_channels. And we're only gonna need 2 channels for a game because we only have 2 different effects. One is gonna be the background music, and one is gonna be the shooting effect. All right, this will allow us to add our 2 different channels to our game. Next, I'm going to create my background music. So I'm gonna say self._background music. And then to add my song, we have to use a method kind of like how we did image load, but this is going to be for music. So it's going to be pygame.mixer.sound. Sound with a capital S. All right. Sound with a capital X. So this is going to allow us to load up our sound into our Pygame file. Now we're going to open a string here, and to add our first argument here, notice that the opening close parenthesis is telling you what it takes. It takes in a file, right? File and then the file argument. So you're gonna type in file is equal to open and close quotation marks. Within this file, I need you guys to add the file path to your sounds. So you're going to go to your sounds. So it should be sounds / and then it should be a retro background music. Retro background music. Let me see the name of this file. .mp3. .mp3. All right, that's gonna load our sound into it. So we have our channels, we have the sound, but now we have to play it. So to play it, underneath our display on line 17, I'm gonna add pygame.mixer.channel, right? Channel with capital C. This is the command to play a sound in your game. Now, what channel do I want to play? I want to play channel 0. All right, so I'm gonna use index 0 for the channels that I created. And then it has a .play method. So we're gonna use .play. And then what do I want to play? I want to play the background music I loaded. So self._background music. All right, this is not something you guys have to remember or memorize. It's just 15 methods that come with Pygame. I'm just doing it for you guys so you guys can see how it works. Not something that's really important. It's just to add some brightness to our game. Now, we're gonna save this, and if I did it correctly, I should be able to play. And I don't know if you guys, can you guys hear my music? No? Let me stop sharing and share with sound. Okay. There we go. Now I'm gonna go play it again. and this is our sound. Pretty cool, right? I see some smiles. Awesome seeing it come to life. Pretty cool. So make sure you guys are doing that. Let's see if you guys can get it to work. Does everyone have their music playing? Awesome. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Gary, Daniel, Daryl, you guys are good?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
good.
good.
It says Mr. not initialized. I think I just trying to find out why.
You probably didn't spell it right. Maybe there's not a capital S in your sound. It's probably a syntax error. Make sure it looks exactly like how mine looks. Right. And if it's not working, maybe it's also like it doesn't recognize a file path. Notice that there's capitalization on the C in channel, capitalizations on the S in sound. It all has to be the same.
So far, it looks the same.
Okay, go ahead, share your screen so we can see. Make sure everyone's on the
Alright.
same page here. It says, okay, so pygame.sound file is equal to sounds virtual music. And it says mixer not initialized. Pygame.mixer.channel. Oh. I see, I see. It does look the same.
Maybe if I just try restarting.
It's I think the channel is not working. Set channels is equal to pygame.mixer. Why is the pygame.mixer not working? Mixer not initialized. Okay. I'm not quite sure what is wrong with yours. Do you have the sounds? Retro background music, you do.
Yeah, it's right here.
.mp3. That's weird. Okay, we'll do some debugging later so we can move on with the class.
Okay.
I'm assuming, Daryl, you're having the same issue, Danielle?
No, mine works.
Yours works.
No, I'm good.
Okay, it's just Gary. Okay, Gary, we'll take care of that after either our next break or after the end of class.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, so we got that going on, guys. Now, what about our bullet class? So we're gonna go and add some sounds to our bullet. I want you guys to go to bullet.py. And in bullet.py, we're gonna add a specific sound directly into the bullet class. So every single bullet.
You got a screen share, Roger.
Okay, thank you. For the bullet class, it's gonna be a little bit different because it is every single bullet that gets created, it's gonna be a new instance. So the sound, we're gonna add it into the bullet class. So each bullet instance has the sound, right? So after self.rect, I want you guys to do self._shoot sound. All right, we're gonna do something very similar to how we did it in our main.py file, but it's a little bit different because it's just one thing. So it's gonna be pygame.mixer.music.load. A bunch of methods amongst each other. Pygame.mixer.music.load. And then here, you don't have to add file, you're just gonna load directly in here the shoot sound. So it should be sounds/shoot1.mp3. All right. And then afterwards, we're going to call the method pygame pygame.mixer.music.play. Pygame.mixer.music.play. It should be just 2 lines of codes for this one.
Roger,
Right.
on line 10, you did sounds dot shoot.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That would have given me an error. Sounds /shoot1.mp3. Now, once you have that, you should be able to go to your main.py, run it, and every time I press my mouse, it gives me my shooting sound. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, very straightforward, guys. It's bringing it a little bit to life every time that we run our game. Now it's getting closer to being a full game, guys. Very close, very close. We're just missing a little bit of functionality. So back to our README. So once again, a movable spaceship with firing capabilities and a dangerous foe. It feels like we're almost at the end, but the key core concept isn't there, right? Our objects exist, but they can't interact with each other. So we have to fix that. A unique method to the sprite class allows for a group of sprites to check if they have collided with another of sprites that the pygame.sprite.collide method uses, right? So we are going to use this method right here as going to allow us to see if stuff has collided with each other. So we're going to go to our bullets class because we want to see if our bullets actually hit our targets or not. Remember, how do we create our aliens and our bullets? Both of these are children of the sprite class that we inherit from. So they both have this method. And this method allows to check between multiple different other sprite classes to see if they've touched, if they have collided. So we want to see if our bullets actually hit our targets or not. To do that within our bullet class, we are going to tweak our update code only slightly, right? What we are going to do within the update method, I want you guys to pass in alien group as an argument, right? It's going to take in an alien group as an argument. What this is going to do is every time that our bullet group is updated and we're moving it, it's also going to check, hey, have I collided with any other alien from the alien group? And if so, I want to do something. So we add the alien group as an argument, and then we have to add this following line. We have to check if the alien group collided with a bullet, and if so, we have to destroy it. So after our self.rec.y line, we're going to do pygame.sprite.sprite_collide. Right, this method checks 2 sprite groups and it says, hey, have they collided? And if it's true, then delete it. The first sprite we're going to pass in here is going to be self, right? Because this method is being called by the bullet. So it's checking, hey, have myself, me, the bullet, collided with, comma, an alien group sprite. All right, so it takes in 2 sprite groups. The sprite group within self, the third-party sprite group, which is going to be alien group, and then the third parameter is going to be a Boolean literal. It's going to say true or false. This Boolean literal is going to delete the opposite sprite if it collides with it. So we're going to put it to true. And very simple, just like that. When we run our main.py and if we shoot an alien, it will destroy anything that it collides with. And let's watch that happen. Okay, we're getting an issue here. What happened? Bullet.update is missing 1 required positional argument, alien group. That's correct. We added the parameter here, so it has to take something, but we didn't update it within our main.py. So within our main.py, we have to go to where the update method is for our bullets. Here on my screen, I have it on line 72. I am updating the bullets, but notice that it's still empty. I have to pass in a parameter here, and this parameter is going to be an alien group, which is self._ all aliens, right? That's the same group we created up here, right? These are sprite groups, all bullets, all aliens. So pass that in within your update method. And now it should work. If you guys notice, as I was killing them off, it was still updating how many aliens were on my screen. And notice that at some point it would stall. It would say 3, 3, then it said 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Because every time I was spawning a new alien, I was killing another one, to the point where it was consistent with only 4 being alive. And then it slowly started overwhelming me. It started increasing the amount of sprites that were still left over. So it's working, guys. It is working. Right? So, cool. This goes real of the way there. So that takes care of destroying the enemy. But now we need a way to lose, right? It turns out that we can use the same sprite collide method, but with just our spaceship, right, object. Within the game loop, we should check if our hero has made contact with any aliens. And if so, we want to stop the game. So we are going to add a line where we draw our aliens in our bullets. So in our main.py right here, after we draw our bullets in our aliens, and then before we update our game, we're going to add an if statement. We're going to say if pygame dot sprite collide, and once again, it has to have 2 arguments. The first one's going to be self dot underscore spaceship. We want to check between the aliens, so all aliens. And then we're going to say false because we don't want anything to essentially just happen. We just want to exit out our game. That means we have lost, right? Remember this method here, pygame.quit, pygame or sys.exit. The same thing that we did here when we press the X button. We're going to do that if we hit an alien, right? This is right before our window updates in our clock timer at the very bottom. And then we can run it. And it's gonna take a little bit. Give me a second.
You could always turn up the speed of the aliens.
I could, thank you. Let's go ahead and increase the speed by 10 and by 10. Main.py. We collided, so we have lost. All right, we lost, our game exits. Right. Congratulations, you guys have completed your first game. Now, it's not perfect, right? Obviously, this isn't the perfect game because we don't want to use the exit the game when we lose. It definitely needs improvement. We wouldn't want our game to close down every time we lost and had to restart it. We could also use a game window. We could use a way to win. Maybe we could use a way to keep score, and if possible, maybe some health packs or power-ups if we made it up to this point. You now have everything that you need to replicate your own game or make improvements to this one, right? I do have some small exercises here that we can do to kind of get that working. But what I don't have on the README is a small section that we are going to do together. So let's change the way that we die. What if we make it a little bit closer to how Space Invaders used to work, where they shoot back at us, right? It's not funny, they're just kind of colliding with us. Let's see if we can make some aliens shoot back at us. So what we're gonna do we are going to go to our alien.py
Roger,
file.
before you do that, could you scroll over? I didn't get all the attributes for the sprite collide. It's just false. Okay, thank you.
This one for the bullets or the enemy?
The sprite collide one for the main.py. It's for quitting the game.
Yeah, it should just take in self dot underscore spaceship for the first argument. The second argument is all aliens, and then it is false.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So now that we have that, I want to add a method for the aliens to shoot back at me, guys. I want them to shoot back at me and actually hurt me. So to do that, we're going to go to our alien file. Above our alien class, we are going to create a new class. Right, this class is going to be called Alien Bullet. Right? Alien Bullet. And it's going to inherit from something that we already created. Right? Here we see inheritance again. We're going to import from bullet, import bullet. We are going to inherit from the bullet class. This is another key pillar of object-oriented programming. We've already created a whole class for bullet, so why the heck would we have to create a new one? So we're gonna inherit from bullet. So add this to the alien bullet opening close parentheses. And then we're gonna define our init method. It's gonna take in self, an X, and a Y. We're going to give the aliens the ability to shoot back at us. So they have to be able to create their own bullets, right? Their own bullet class needs to be identified, right? And we also have to initialize the class that we created, right? We don't just magically get all the methods and attributes from our bullet class. We have to initialize the bullet we are inheriting from. Because it's not a Pygame class, it's a regular class. We don't do it like this where we do Pygame.sprite.sprite. We do it the default, more common way, which is going to be super, open and close parentheses, dot init. And I want to take the X and Y of the bullets. Actually, we might not even need this X and Y. It should just be open and close parentheses. Right? So after we initialize the class that we were getting from, we are going to go ahead and create our bullet. Very similar to how we did with the other bullet. We're gonna do image is equal to pygame.surface 1010 pygame.src alpha. Don't need to memorize these guys. This is just to create that bullet circle. We're gonna do circle. I'm gonna take in self.image that I just created. I'm going to give it a different color than our bullet so we can we're able to differentiate from all the different bullets in our screen. I believe this color is purple. I think that's the code for it. We're gonna give it a 5x5 dimension with a radius of 5. All right, just copy the exact same code. This is just creating that shape for us. Nothing to memorize or lose time over. And then we're gonna give it a rectangle just like everything else. Self.image.get rect. Mid bottom is equal to the X and the Y. All right. That's going to create that circle for us. Right? Once again, nothing to fret about. It's all just standard code for Pygame. Nothing you have to memorize that's important to the object-oriented programming class. Next, we're going to give this an update method as well. Right? This update method needs to check the movement and update it. But also, very similar to how we did the bullet class, where we gave it a alien group to see if we collided with. The alien needs to collide with the spaceship, right? So it needs to take in a ship object. Ship object. Right? Earlier we passed in an alien group, but this time we're passing in an object. We're going to use the Pygame.sprite.sprite collide again to collide with our object. Pass in self because we're checking if the alien bullet is going to collide with our ship object. And then I want to destroy the ship object, so I'm going to put true. Now, this update method, besides colliding with the enemy, it needs to update so it moves, right? For our bullet, we were moving up, so from the bottom to the top, so we were decreasing the Y, but because the aliens are at the top, we need to increase the Y. We're going to say self.rect.y plus equals 10. That'll move the bullet downwards. And just like the bullet from the spaceship, if it reaches past a certain point, we need to destroy it so it doesn't keep it in memory. So we're going to say if self.rect.y is equal to 810, right? Because our y goes up to 800. So once it reaches past 810, we need to destroy it. Right? Now, this is the class for our alien bullet. The alien bullet now needs to be able to shoot. Well, we need to create a way to make this alien shoot every single time. So above our update method and below our init method, we're going to create a new method. It's going to be called shoot alien bullet. Shoot alien bullet. Right? This is a method that we're going to have to call every single time we want our alien to shoot. And we don't want it to always shoot, right? It needs to be able to shoot every so often, right? It would be horrible if it just constantly just shoots every single time, every second, every single alien. So we want to delay the time that it shoots, randomize when it shoots. So we'll create a variable called self. No, we don't have to do self. We could just call it can shoot. Can shoot is equal to random.randint. We don't have random in this class. We're gonna have to import our random. Oh, we do have it. My bad. I was wrong. I just gave it an alias. So it should be r.randint, and then I'm going to make it shoot every so often. I'm just gonna make a random number here between the numbers 1 and 5. Right? My random number to shoot is gonna be 2. Right? Whenever can shoot is equal to 2, I want to shoot. So I'm gonna say if can shoot is equal to 2, then I want to create an alien bullet. Right? So this creates a random variable from numbers 1 to 5. Whenever this becomes 2, it's going to shoot for us. So it should create a new alien bullet. So alien bullet is equal to, then we call the class alien bullet that we defined earlier. It should take in self.rec.x. It needs to take in the location of where our alien is. So it also needs self.rec.y. Right? Notice this is within the alien. So self.rec.y is the X and Y axis for our bullet. I mean, for our alien. So we're taking the position of the alien, and that's where the alien bullet is going to grab its location of where it is spawning. Now we want to return this alien object, right? It can't stay in here. We need to return it somewhere so we can display it in our main screen. So once the alien object is created, I'm going to say return alien bullets. This method is going to be called in our main.py so we can put it on the screen. So once the alien creates the bullet for us, it's going to give it back to us so we can display it on the screen. Next, we're going to go to our main.py. And in our main.py, we are going to create a new event. Right? We had an event for our alien to spawn, but let's create an event where our aliens are shooting. So we're going to say self._alien shoot event. Just like we did before, it's going to be pygame.user event +1. We're adding a new event, guys. This event is going to be when our aliens are going to shoot. Right? I want this event to run just like when the aliens spawn. So pygame.time.set timer. I'm gonna give it the event that I want to happen, alien shoot event, and I want it to happen every 1000 milliseconds. Right? So we have that event. Let's go down to our for loop where we're checking our events. We have the event to quit. We have the event to shoot. We have events to spawn. And now we're going to do an event to shoot. All right, we already created, so we're going to look for it. If event.type is equal to self._alien shoot event. If that event is equal to our alien shoot event, then I want to make my bullets spawn for my aliens. That means we have to make our aliens shoot, right? So we are going to say we are going to do a variable called alien list. Am I spelling that right? Alien. Have I been misspelling aliens the entire time? I have not, right?
No, that's correct. You've always been doing
Sorry.
it correct.
Whenever I say a word so many times, I forget its meaning, dude. We're gonna call this alien list. Right? And then what I want to do is grab every single alien within my group. Right? I'm gonna say self dot all aliens. I'm gonna grab the group I have. And the group data member, right? It has a method that it comes with. It's called sprites. This returns to us a list of all the current instances of our sprites. And let's see how that looks like. Print alien list. Let's remove this print so we don't see that here. I just want to see what alien list holds for me. All right, so when I run it, let me stop sharing sound because it is a little distracting. Okay. So I'm running it. Notice that I am printing out my alien list. And it prints out a list of objects, alien sprite in group run, alien sprite in group run, alien sprite in group 1. It is a list of all my sprites, right? All right, so when I have that list of sprite, I want to loop through my list of sprites. And the reason I do this, guys, is so I can grab only when there's stuff in there, right? Because I don't want to make this event shoot stuff if there is no aliens that exist, right? Because what's happening here? Both of these events, the alien spawn event and the alien shoot event, are happening at the exact same time, right? And I might get some issues here if I'm trying to shoot with an alien that does not exist because they're being spawned at the exact same time, right? So to avoid any weird functionality, I am collecting them in a list. And if this list is not empty, then I'm going to run this method that I created. So they're all within a list, and I'm going to say for alien in alien list. I'm going to create a new alien object by saying alien bullet object is equal to, and then I'm going to grab that alien object I have in my list, alien, and I'm going to call that method that we created, shoot alien bullet, right? Shoot alien bullet. This is the method that we created. If there are aliens in my sprite group, that means they're in this list. I'm looping through that list, grabbing every single object in there, and calling shoot alien object. It's going to be assigned to this variable. Now, if an alien object existed, that means an alien bullet object was created. And I'm going to say if alien bullet object is not none. This is redundant because I have to make sure that it exists. It is not empty. Because if it's empty and I try to draw it on my Pygame screen, it's going to give me an error. I have to check if it exists. So if it is not none, then that means I want to add it to a new sprite group. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to add a new sprite group. Currently we have self.all-bullets. We have self.all-aliens. Now I'm going to create self.all-alien bullets and pass in the same method, pygame.sprite.group. I'm going to create that new group for me. So if the alien bullet objects exist in all alien bullets, right? So I'm going to add them into that bullet. I'm going to say self.all-alien-bullets.add. I'm going to add that new alien bullet object I created. Everyone still with me? I created a sprite group for all my alien bullets. So whenever I create an alien bullet, I can add it in there so I can draw all of them at the exact same time and update them as needed. This is happening if my alien bullet is not none. If it is none, I just want to pass. So I'm going to say else, just pass. Pass everything. I don't need to do anything. Right. And let's see if my alien bullets are being created and added to this bullet group. So we can put play. I am missing something here. Oh, an X and a Y. I am missing an X and a Y. Right. That means I need to get the X and Y of the alien and pass it into my alien bullet class, right? Because that's what we declared. Right. It's supposed to take in a rect in.
Would it be because of we didn't put anything in the init for the super function?
Yeah, that's exactly why. Going back to the super function here, guys, on alien bullet, I want you guys to pass in the X and the Y of the parents. That is exactly why. Good job, Gary. Good catch. Good catch. Right, we did not get the X and Y. Let's go ahead and put that in there. So we can, okay, actually, we might have to delete this one that belongs to the alien bullet. Let's see if that works. They're shooting. Right, they are shooting. Let's print that out. I want to see what it looks like. Let's say print. Let me just type this. Print self dot all alien bullets. This is my all alien bullets group, guys, that I had created. I can hear it happening, but I can't see if it's actually being created. There we go. Yep. They are shooting. Notice that we can't see anything because we have yet to use the dot draw method or the dot update method, right? So we are going to come down here where we've drawn everything else for our groups of sprites. And we're going to say if self dot all alien bullets, again, redundancy to ensure that we don't get an error. We're going to check if the bullets exist. So if my bullets for my alien sprite group is not none, I want to draw them. I'm going to draw them on my space surface. And at the same time, I want to update them. Right? So these weren't dependent on anything. These are dependent because there has to be aliens to exist to make the alien bullets, which is why these specifically have to be is not none. Because they're not always gonna be bullets. There's not always gonna be shooting. But this runs like 1,000 times per second. So the first time our program runs, it's gonna give us an error because no alien has been spawned, no alien has shot yet, right? Because it's a randomizer. They don't always just shoot right off the bat. So we might get an error right off the bat if you run this. So we have to check if it's not none. And if it is not none, then I want to draw it. Right? Run it again. And we got an issue. It says pygame.surface object has no attribute sprites. Where? In line 14 in alien.py, I am getting an issue. Okay, here's my issue. The alien bullet needs to have the ship object within the update method so it knows who to collide with. Right? That's how we created. And notice here that it only has oh sorry, we added a space surface back in. This needs to be spaceship. Right, it needs to take the spaceship in the update method so it knows who it can collide with. So that means we can run it now and it should work. Spaceship has no attribute sprites. What is going on? Our spaceship, okay, I see what's going on. Our spaceship isn't a sprite, guys. It's a regular class. And we're trying to use it as a sprite. How can we fix that? Who can guess?
Make it a sprite.
Make it a sprite, guys. Exactly. We're gonna go ahead and inherit from the sprite class in our spaceship so we can use those methods. See how we try to use a method from a parent that we don't have? Our spaceship is freaking adopted, guys. It does not have these attributes. So we need to give this bad boy a parent. So within our spaceship class, I want you guys to go ahead and inherit from the pygame.sprite class. And we have to initialize the method so we can use it as a sprite. So pygame.sprite.init. Now suddenly it is a freaking sprite. Right? Good job. It is a sprite now. Now we need to add it to a sprite group. Even though it's only going to be one, we want to use it as a sprite group because this takes a sprite group, right? it takes a sprite group. So we're gonna go into where we declare our spaceship. It's just a little refactoring. We created our spaceship here, right? We're gonna create a new sprite group. It's gonna be self dot ship sprite group. This is only so we can create our spaceship sprite and be able to use it as a sprite. This will be pygame dot sprite dot group single, right? This is a very unique sprite group because it is only one item in here. We're not going to use our normal one that we did here. We was sprite dot group. This is a group single, right? It has a very unique method just for a single object sprites. This will create a sprite group that will only hold one thing. And then let's add our spaceship in here. All right, we're gonna add our spaceship in here. And then down below, where we are running the update method for our bullet, we're gonna replace spaceship with the spaceship group. Ship sprite group. Okay. Now we shouldn't have an issue because we converted the spaceship to a sprite within the sprite group. It's a little refactoring, but it's enough to get us to be able to use the same functionality on our ship. Right? Updated that update method to have our ship sprite group. I'm gonna go back up to where I did that. Right? Where I initially created my spaceship, I created the ship sprite group by using pygame.sprite.group single. I made it to a single sprite group. Then I added my spaceship into this sprite group, and I passed in the sprite group into my update method for my alien bullets. And I no longer get an error. We see the bullets spawning. Right? Pretty cool, but something's not right, guys. Something is not right. My alien bullet isn't killing me off. And that is an issue. Why is it not doing it? I wonder why. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure why, but I'm gonna leave this up to you guys if you guys want to continue the assignment. All right, we are going to stop this assignment right now. That essentially is going to conclude the Pygame lesson. The making the aliens shoot, I believe it was actually an exercise for you guys, but I wanted to do it for y'all so you guys can see how I would do that. If y'all want to continue with this program, you guys are more than welcome to. You guys have all the tools. You have a template. If you took good notes, you guys can do it yourselves. You guys have the documentation. You have the cheat sheet. But that is actually going to conclude the end of our Space Invaders object-oriented programming lesson. I'm not going to take time to debug something like that right now. I don't want to waste any more time. Thank you guys for those of you who saw this lesson through. I know it was a little difficult with the learning curve with Pygame. That's okay, right? But what was cool, guys, right? Throughout these last like 5 hours that we have been working on Pygame, you guys were able to see different parts of object-oriented programming, of how it kind of is used, right? We are able to create multiple classes, right? Classes that take objects, instantiate object within them, You guys were able to use inheritance, right? And that's awesome. You guys were able to see a visual representation of your classes once they get created into objects. You guys learn a new module that you guys can go and mess around with later on if you guys like. But hopefully this gives you somewhat of a better understanding, especially if you're super lost with the concept of an object in a class. This hopefully kind of clarifies that for you guys. This is going to conclude object-oriented programming for foundations of programming. Right. This is it for it. The next time you guys will see object-oriented programming will be in the immersive program, right? Or for weekend warriors as well, right? Evening and weekend. But it only gets harder from here. If you guys were able to follow along and kind of understand the Pygame lesson, you guys should be okay for the assessment, right? I understand, right? You guys probably not perfect. You have your little issues, but by the time you guys get to the immersive program, it shouldn't be too difficult. I believe you guys should all have the curriculum. I know Gary sent it to me recently. This is the full stack software engineering program curriculum. Am I still sharing my screen? Do you all have this already? All right, well, this is pretty much what it looks like, guys. Right. Week 1 is JavaScript and Python intro. Let's look at a little bit of these days. You have Git part 1, where they're teaching you everything I kind of went over real quickly: intro, push, pull, cloning, branching, checkout stuff. So you'll get a little bit more in depth, right? You're gonna learn JavaScript fundamentals. I didn't use Jest, so that's new to me. So you'll learn basic JavaScript fundamentals, and then you're gonna start with Python fundamentals on day 4. And notice this real quick. Day 4 of week 1, Python fundamentals. Let's look at where the assessment is at. Day 5 of week 2. You have 6 or 7 days after you guys start Python where you will get your assessment. Between day 4 of week 1, right, you start learning about object-oriented programming, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism, some review, and then boom, here's your assessment, guys. Good luck. Right? It is quick. Now I want to put this into perspective. You guys have had it for right now 3 weeks. Right? We started Python last week. You guys are kind of getting the gist of it right now, right? Kind of getting the gist of it. You guys struggled with eliminate stat, right? With only a week of practice. And eliminate stat is easier than the assessment. Now imagine your peers when you guys start the immersive program who are going to have exactly the same amount of time, but instead of having eliminate stat, they're going straight into an assessment. Do you see the advantage that you guys have right now? This is huge, right? So be happy for the fact that you guys have made it this far. We started this class with 16 people. I have 6 of you guys in here right now. 6. We lost a little over half, nearly 2/3, nearly, right? 2/3 of the class is not here right now. They started, and at some point, granted, I understand life happens, but I know there's at least 1 or 2, if not more, that are probably like, I'll just wait to the immersive program. I don't need this. I don't need this. I'll be fine. Right? They're gonna be in for a rude awakening. I'm not gonna say they're gonna fail, right? But they will struggle. So if you're sitting in this class for now, congratulations to all of you guys. You guys are doing good for yourself, right? And the reason I say this, right, is because I see so many people come to this program from all ways of life. There are people who put the entire future of their family on this one opportunity, right? I have had people who have saved for a year just so they can afford to go to the in-person in Chicago in hopes to get the apprenticeship afterwards, right? Because they are banking on this shot to have a job after the Army or the Marines, Navy, whatever your branch you're coming from. Right? Good on you guys for still being here every single day and staying consistent. So I applaud every single one of you guys. Because the way I see it, at the end of the day, the time that you put in right now, guys, right, will affect how much bread is on your table when you guys leave the service. I don't know how many of you guys are still in, right? Yo, the civilian sector is fucking tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is fucking tough. Right? I struggled to get a job afterwards. And it's not just the fact that it was because it's a software engineering thing, it's just the entire civilian sector, right? The job market is absolutely horrendous. It's starting to get better, I will say, compared to it was a year ago. It is slowly starting to get better, right? It goes through highs and lows. Unfortunately, I got out on a low. But props on you guys. Keep doing what you guys are doing, showing up every single day, right, for you and your family. Because at the end of the day, you being here in this class, in the Zoom call, right, it is for your family. Think about it that way. The big picture. It's not about just like, oh, because it's easy. I just missed a day of class, right? That day of class can cost you an internship. That day of class can cost you a job placement. You might have missed something crucial, a time to be with your family to learn something important, right? Where it might have stuck a little bit better than handling yourself and trying to cram later on. So props on you guys for making it this far. I understand we all had, our things. Some people missed some couple of days, but you are still sitting here and made it all the way through the object-oriented programming lessons. Thank you guys for that. And you guys should be happy for it. We're going to end class for today. I don't want to start a lesson and have to stop it right off the bat. We've been coding nonstop since the beginning, but we're going to leave it at that. Tomorrow, we are going to start off with reading and writing files. And that's going to be the end of anything involving like regular code. Next week will be data structures and data algorithms. So like it's gonna be problems that resemble like LeetCode or Code Wars, right? Which they're not as sexy as watching something on your screen play, but they are the first gate that you will encounter once you graduate from the immersive program, right? Because you guys will go through this immersive program, learn everything that you need to learn about the start to the end point of building a full stack application. But then when you guys graduate, they're not going to care too much about your project. I was asked about my project maybe 2 or 3 times. Every other interview I had was, hey, here's a LeetCode problem. You have 20 minutes to solve it. Let me know when you're ready. And then I sat there and I coded a challenge, right? It was some kind of LeetCode-like problem, a Code Wars type of problem, where I was given some kind of data structure and I had to either sort it or manipulate it or get something out of it, right? And data structure and data algorithms are a completely different ballgame than actually coding a program, right? That's unfortunately that's how the this job field works. That's how they test new software engineers. Is the quickest and easiest way to weed out those that can't code. But at the same time, like it's not fair because that's not what you do on a day-to-day basis. But that's how the job works, man. I don't know why. So I would show up here as much as I can next week to ensure that I get a practice of that. So you guys can get a head start on working on these data structure and data algorithms early. But yeah, thank you guys for your contributions and for just being here present and listening to me. We'll end it here. I'll stay in the call for a little bit longer if anyone has any questions. But besides that, you guys are free to go. I hope you guys enjoy your Thursday evening.